Act 2, Scene 1 of Ellery Queen, The Tragedy of X. Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. The District Attorney's Office, Wednesday, September 9th, 9:20 a.m. District Attorney Bruno and Inspector Thum faced each other across Bruno's desk the next morning. Two hard-headed men, eye to eye, with a heckling mystery. The District Attorney's hand played with a neat pile of letters, destroying its neatness. Thum's squashy nose was eloquent of a cold and fruitless morning outdoors. "Well, sir," said the inspector in his growling bass, "I'm stymied. Absolutely stymied. Reached a dead end this morning on the poison, cork, and needles. Looks as if the nicotine wasn't bought, but was either manufactured privately or distilled from that insecticide Schilling mentioned. We'll never get anywhere there. And as for this Mr. Drury Lane of yours, damned if I don't think we're wasting our time." Bruno demurred. "Now, Thum, I wouldn't say that. Don't be unkind." He spread his hands. "I think you're underestimating the man. True, he's a queer duck, living in a place like that, surrounded by old fogies, spouting Shakespeare. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I think," scowled the inspector. "I think he's a lot of hot air. I think he's giving us the runaround. I think he's made a grandstand play when he said he knew who killed Longstreet." "Oh, but Thum, you're being unfair," protested the district attorney. "After all, he knows he can't make statements like that and expect to get away with them. He must know he'll have to make good eventually. No, I'm inclined to think that he knows what he's talking about, really has found a lead somewhere and is keeping quiet for reasons of his own." Thum pounded the desk. "Am I dumb? Are you dumb? What do you mean he found a lead? By all that's holy, what kind of lead? There just isn't any. There just isn't any. I vote for easing him out of the picture. Christ, yesterday you thought the same way." "Well, I can change my mind, can't I?" snapped Bruno. Then he looked sheepish. "We mustn't forget how nicely he pointed out our oversight on the Kramer mess, and if there's the slightest chance of getting help in this damned business, I'm not overlooking it. Then, too, I can't very well give him the gate after inviting his cooperation. No, Thum, we'll have to go through with it. He can't do any harm. Anything new?" Thum bit a cigarette in half. "Collins? Making trouble again. One of my men just found out that Collins visited DeWitt 3 times since Saturday. Of course, he's trying to collect from DeWitt. Well, I'll keep tabs on him, but that DeWitt's affair..." Bruno began idly to open the letters before him. 2 he tossed into a desk basket for filing. The third, a letter in a cheap plain envelope, brought him to his feet with an exclamation. Thum's eyes narrowed as Bruno's eyes swept through the letter. "Good God, Thum," shouted Bruno. "If this isn't the sweetest break." "Well, what is it?" he snarled at his secretary. The secretary tendered a card, and Bruno snatched it and read. He does he?" he muttered in a quite different voice. "All right, Barney, send him in. Stick around, Thum. There's something extraordinary in this letter. But first, let's see what this Swiss bird wants. It's Imperial calling." The secretary opened the door for the tall, square figure of the Swiss businessman, who entered smiling. Imperial was attired as usual in meticulously correct morning clothes, a fresh flower in his lapel, stick tucked under his arm. "Good morning, Mr. Imperial. What can we do for you?" Bruno was deliberate, but the letter he had been reading had disappeared. He clasped his hands on the edge of his desk. Thum grunted a greeting. "My respects, good sir." "Morning." "My respects, sir." Good morning, Mr. Thum. Imperial sat down carefully in a leather chair by Bruno's desk. I shall not take a moment, Mr. Bruno. I have, he said politely, concluded my business affairs in America. I am ready to return to Switzerland. I see. Bruno looked at Thum, and Thum glowered at Imperial's broad back. I had already booked passage on this evening's boat, said the Swiss with a slight frown, and ordered my luggage called for by the express people when one of your gendarmes? I don't know what that means. Appeared out of nowhere at my host's home and forbade me to leave. To leave Mr. DeWitt's house, Mr. Imperial? Imperial shook his head with the merest trace of impatience. Oh no, to leave the country, he said. He would not allow my luggage to be removed. This is very disturbing, Mr. Bruno. I am a businessman. My presence is urgently required by my firm in Bern. Why am I being delayed in this way? Surely Bruno tapped his desktop. Now listen to me, Mr. Imperial. I don't know how they do things in your country, but you don't seem to realize that you are involved in an American murder investigation. A murder investigation. Yes, I know, but there are no buts, Mr. Imperial. Bruno rose. I am sorry, naturally, but you will have to remain in this country until the murder of Harley Longstreet is cleared up, or at least an official decision reached. Of course, you may move from DeWitt's house and go elsewhere. I can't prevent you from doing that, but you'll have to remain within call. Imperial rose and stiffly stretched to his full height. His face lost its pleasantness and became ugly. But I tell you, my business will suffer. Bruno shrugged. Very well. Imperial clapped his hat on his head. His face was as red as the flames of Mr. Drury Lane's fire. I shall immediately call upon my counsel, Mr. Bruno, and demand satisfaction. Do you understand? I am a citizen of Switzerland, and you have no right to detain me. Good day. He bowed infinitesimally, stormed toward the door. Bruno smiled. Nevertheless, I'd advise you to cancel your passage, Mr. Imperial. No sense in losing all that money. But Imperial was gone. Well, said Bruno briskly, that's that. Sit down, Thum, and take a look at this. He produced the letter from his pocket and spread it before Inspector Thum. Glanced at once at the bottom of the sheet. There was no signature. The letter was written in rusty black ink on cheap ruled stationery. In a plain, undisguised hand, it was addressed to the district attorney. I am one of the people on the streetcar when the man Longstreet was murdered. I have found out some, thing about who killed him. I am willing to give this information to you, Mr. District Attorney, but I am very much afraid that the murderer knows I know, and I think I am being watched. But if you will meet me or send somebody to meet me Wednesday night at 11 o'clock p.m., I will tell you what I know. I assume it's supposed to say meet, but it says M-E-T-T, met, me and the Weehawken Ferry waiting room at that time. You will know who I am. I will disclose myself. Please, for my sake, don't make a holler. Mr. District Attorney, don't tell any outsiders about this letter, for the murderer may find out I have talked, and I will be killed for doing my duty to the state. You will protect me, won't you? When I see you Wednesday night, you will be glad I met you. This is important. Heavily underscored. I am going to watch myself until that time. I don't want to be seen talking to a cop in the daytime. Thum handled the letter gingerly. He placed it on the desk and scanned the envelope. Postmarked Weehawken N.J. last night, he muttered, full of fingerprints from dirty fingers. One of those Jerseyites on the car. Well, Bruno, I'll be damned if I know what to think. Might be a crank letter, and then again, it mightn't. That's the hell of these things. What's your idea? Hard to say. Bruno stared at the ceiling. It sounds as if it might be a lead. I'll be there all right, just in case. He swung to his feet, began to pace the room. Thum, I have a hunch this is going to be good. The fact that this bird, whoever he is, didn't sign his name to the letter rings true. He's incoherent, puffed up high with his coming importance, and above all, trembling in his boots about the possible consequences of his revelation. Then, too, the letter displays the usual elements. It's voluminous, repetitious, nervous. Witness the misspelling of meat, and the omission of the crossbars on some of the T's. One moment. I was reading through it to make sure. Yeah. Not that I could notice on a second look through, but none of the T's, none of the letter T's in this letter were missing the crossbar, so. Well, Inspector Thum? No, the more I think about it, the more I'm inclined to like it. Well, Inspector Thum was dubious. Then he brightened. This ought to knock Mr. Drury Lane off his pins anyway. Maybe we won't need his blasted advice after all. Suits me, Thum. We can stand a quick prosecution. Bruno rubbed his hands together contentedly. Tell you what, get in touch with District Attorney Reynolds of Hudson County over the river and make the necessary arrangements to have Jersey police watch the Weehawken terminal. Damn this constant fuss about jurisdiction anyway. No uniformed men, Thum, all plain clothes. You'll be there? Try and stop me. And Inspector Thum with grim inelegance. As Thum slammed the door, District Attorney Bruno picked up one of the telephone instruments on his desk and put in a call for the Hamlet. He waited peacefully, almost happily, until the buzzer sounded. Hello, the Hamlet? Mr. Drury Lane? District Attorney Bruno calling. Hello, who is this? A shrill, quavering voice answered. This is Quasi, Mr. Bruno. Mr. Lane is right here by my side. Oh yes, I forgot. He can't hear. Bruno's voice expanded. Well, tell Mr. Lane that I have some news for him. He heard Quasi's old voice repeating the message word for word. He says indeed, came Quasi's squeak. And, sir, tell him that he's not the only one who knows who killed Longstreet, said Bruno triumphantly. He listened intently while Quasi repeated this to Lane, and heard, startlingly clear, Lane's remark. Tell Mr. Bruno that is news, quite literally. Has he had a confession? Bruno explained to Quasi the contents of the anonymous letter, silence from the other end of the wire, and Lane's voice unhurried and unperturbed. Tell Mr. Bruno I am so sorry not to be able to converse with him directly. Ask him if I may be present tonight at this meeting. Oh, by all means, said Bruno to Quasi. Quasi, did Mr. Lane seem at all surprised? Bruno heard the oddest chuckle over the wire. The well-fed ghost of a chuckle, then Quasey's quaking voice, brimming with sly fun. No, sir. He seemed quite pleased with the turn of events. He has often said that he always expects the unexpected. But District Attorney Bruno, with a short goodbye, had replaced the receiver on its hook.